Hi, welcome to Artist Talk and Bob's Radio. My name is Rio Raymond, and I'm in company of someone who's all the way. I'm guessing you're in Spain right now, Brooklyn.
Yeah,
That's
I
not
am.
my intro to just check with if you're in Spain. But yeah, we got Brooklyn online with us, and Brooklyn is an EDM artist. And there's a lot to Brooklyn from just being an independent EDM artist. We're going to discover all of that. Brooklyn, welcome to Bob's Radio, and thank you for joining us on board, man.
Thank you for having me. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure.
Good.
And I must say, you're at a time pursuing music, which not many people do. And this also comes across for the love and passion that you have for the craft. But your first stint with this sort of music was by your choice to steal a vinyl back in the day. And this was at some particular show or a concert or a shop. Could you tell us what you did? There's nothing.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was well. I didn't do it on purpose. So yeah, well, I did it on purpose, but it was the pressure of my friends. I was like about 10 years old, and I had much older friends at the time, and we were in the record store, and they were sometimes shoplifting music that they liked, and I was pretty young, and I was looking up to them, so I felt a little pressured to do what they did, and so I stole an album, but I didn't know what kind of music it was. It was a Kraftwerk album, which apparently turned out later that they come from my hometown. I didn't know that at the time. It was like 1980. So I stole that album, and once I had it, I put it on my record player, and was really surprised when I heard that very strange music, because that was the time of disco music and stuff, this it's
Right.
70s, 80s. So Kraftwerk was very, very special, and I fell in love with it instantly. And yeah, well, I mean, and now I do a little bit. Now I'm standing on the shoulder of giants, and doing what they did in a much smaller way, of course. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it's got its own place in the world of music, but I also have to mention when you just mentioned 70s, 80s, there's something to do with the very thick European accent. And I remember every time I hear someone like this say, especially that baritone of a voice that you have, it takes me back to a song by Giorgio Moroder. And there's that intro in the beginning, 70s, 80s. And it sounds so similar to that. And it just took me back to the song as well. So I'm guessing there's a bit of music not just in what you play, but also in relevance to whatever you say too.
I've never been compared to Giorgio Moroder, but thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Lovely, man. So now that you are a musician, a full-fledged musician, but I want to talk about this. Not many times or not often do you hear about musicians or other people from a certain business line drop their business and take up music at an age when most consider to retire from whatever they're doing. How is this called? Maybe was it because of the kind of inspiration that you had with the kind of people that you looked up, like the Floyds, the Depeche Mode? I've read about that, so I'm saying these. So was
Yeah.
it because you couldn't fulfill a music need and you were focused more on driving a certain life with an ambition? How did that whole call happen for you?
Yeah. It's more about fulfilling your personal dreams. I always wanted to be a businessman, create my own business, and make some money, live independently. And I did that. I had accomplished that. And I've been running my own business for like 20 plus years. And in 2020, I sold the business, and then there was nothing left to do. And I had some business ideas, and everybody was talking me into doing another business and stuff, but I was tired of hunting money and doing what has to be done as a businessman. So I thought, okay, now is the time to really fulfill your lifelong dream of making music.
Right.
And so I started. I mean, I just in 2020 or 21, actually, I started getting into all into that producing stuff. How do you really manage? How do you really produce your own music? How do you put your ideas, your musical ideas into sound, into songs? And that's what I did. And yeah, I learned how to do it and went for it. I mean, it's as simple as that. Sounds simple. It was hard work, but I did it. Yeah.
But you're saying from the time that you heard Pink Floyd and you were listening to it as an audience or like a fan to 2020, did you have any stint as a musician?
No, not at all.
Nothing. So not even
Nothing.
learning anything, not even like performing as a
Yeah,
singer?
well, yeah, nothing is I learned to play the guitar when I was 40, but electric guitar only a little bit, only for about a year or so, but I just didn't have the time. And I was like, there were basically two passions that I was practicing. One was business, and the other was sports. And music was always in the back of my head, but I never, it's like I knew that there was always music inside of me, but there was no means to put it into action because, you can think about a certain piano piece or a chord progression or stuff that you have in mind, but there was no way to put it into action to really make people hear it. So I
Right.
really had to learn, since I didn't play any instrument at the time, I really had to learn how to make my music happen and put it into the world. And that's what I did in the meantime before, after 2020, when I sold the company, and then started releasing my first track last year.
They say something about entrepreneurs and businessmen. Like when they want to do something, there's nothing that can stop them, and it shows like exactly what you just pulled out with music too. Was it
Pretty
something
much
you,
a description,
was
yeah.
it something you do with online tools that you learned off YouTube, or did you actually take some classes with somebody?
I did some master classes with other people, with other producers as well. Typical stuff where you're paying for. But I did, I would say 90% of the things that I learned came from YouTube. I did a lot of YouTube tutorials. There's so much great stuff out there. I'm really thankful for all these great producers that put their knowledge online and available for everybody. This is great. I love YouTube, and I spent hours and hours and hours learning from them, from their experience, how they do it, what their approach to music is, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's something I'm really thankful for, that nowadays this is possible. Like 20 years ago, it would have been almost impossible to do what I did, or well, it would have been possible, but would have taken like 5 years or so, and I did it in a year or less than a year. So this is a sign of the times, actually.
Glory to YouTube for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love YouTube. Yeah,
All
really.
right. On that note, it also comes across for me to ask you this. So you are producing dance music, electronic dance music. Now, in that category, there's a lot of diversification and bifurcation in terms of different genres of electronic dance music. Where would you put your music into?
It's more like a little bit in between progressive house and trance, more trance. But when I listen to these typical trance superstars like Armin van Buuren or Tiesto or others, I'm not quite sure whether I fit into that category, but I was told that my music belongs there. So yeah, I was told by others, by fans
I'd
that
agree with that as well. I'll definitely agree with that because there is a certain sound when you listen to it, kind of a really space sort of a travel with you, right? So that's what happens with a few sounds. And I think Armin, Tiesto, even the likes of Hardwell and the likes, even your
yeah.
music is pretty much in that direction. And also to ask you this, a lot of the music is got to do with AI. Now, I know you're a businessman. Most businessmen are inclined towards the AI world today. What I just want to ask you, what is your significance towards it?
Well, I think that, I have always been someone who was embracing new technology. And I think that AI, well, that's not a very unique opinion because a lot of people have it, but AI will completely transform our world, completely transform the music world. And for me, as an artist who didn't have any connections, I didn't have any connections to singers. So I had to come up with an idea. If I want to have my not only the music, but my lyrics, or the ideas, the lyrical ideas that I have, put on a record, well, how do I approach that? And the only way was to use AI, because I'm not a singer. I mean, I have a microphone here and I have a studio set up. I could, but if there was a good singer, he or she could sing. But and I could put it on the record, which I will do for my next song actually. But I had to do it by myself somehow. And so the easiest way was just to look for an AI where you type in words and you choose the language model, you choose the sound of the voice, and just record it, work on it. I mean, there's a lot of work on it. It's not like that.
It
You
doesn't come
don't
with one
just,
prompt. It takes multiple takes.
yeah, it takes multiple takes, and you have to do a lot of work on on the sound actually. But if you manage how to do it, it's pretty simple, and it's my way of doing it because of the lack of alternatives. I just didn't have any alternatives.
And
So
when
that's
someone listens to your music and also with the things that you just said, just to clarify, if there are some doubters out there, they say, okay, maybe because of the technology so advanced today. I was having this conversation with an artist just day before yesterday about the same way how you can create music with AI. So has Brooklyn created his music with AI?
No, absolutely not. What I use AI for the vocal processing, and I use it for mixing in parts. Actually, if you get into the mixing, the modern mixing process or mastering process, there is no way around it. I mean, you could sit in an old, like 20-year-old studio and have all this old equipment, but that's a waste of time. And I just I don't have the time, don't have the knowledge. But the music, like when it comes to the chord progressions and the melodies and everything, this is absolutely 100% handmade. Uh, if I mean, I know that there are a lot of AI artists out there. I don't care if that's their way, that's fine. But I'm absolutely not doing that because I love the process of creating music. So it's simple just to push some buttons, and then there's music coming out. I love this process, and it's hard work sometimes. Well, no, not sometimes, all the time, but I like that. So yeah.
I'll just validate that. With respect to AI, music that is being created, you can always tell that it's coded music. But when it comes to someone like you who's created the music, you can tell that there is human intervention in this, and there is like
Yeah.
a creative art that's come into it, and not like a code that's come into it. So that's a validation from mine because I've heard it as well, and I kid you not, uh, your music is one of those songs, I just play like just to chill in the studio when I'm thinking about something. It's really a chiller at the point. I'm a chiller listening to your music.
Thank
So
you.
that's cool.
I
So
appreciate
I'd
that.
love it. And
Thank
I'm
you.
guessing a lot of our listeners also are liking the music because we get a lot of feedback in terms of great music at different hours of the day. Of course, we've gotten a lot of artists as well. But we know when a certain message comes at a certain time on our DMs, we know, okay, we check, okay, which artist is playing. So we know that Brooklyn's music is also getting a lot of likes and recognition. So thank you for getting on board with us. Now, the
Thank you
other
for playing
question
my
that
music.
yeah, and I want to ask you this. Your actual name is John. I understand a lot of people have stage names for the art form
Mhm.
and stuff, but why do you choose Brooklyn and not with the actual spelling of Brooklyn as well?
Because well, to start at the beginning, Brooklyn. I the first time I was in New York, like many years ago, I don't know when that was, but like 20 years ago, I kind of fell in love with the Brooklyn Bridge. It was a very special building. Everyone was into the Empire State Building and other great buildings they have there. And I was like, this bridge is so magical. I felt some connection to it. And all the time that I'm in New York, I go there, I make a lot of photos, I spend a lot of time there, and I feel happy. I cannot really explain that. So there was always this link, personal link to the Brooklyn Bridge, not to the area of Brooklyn, but actually to the
Right.
bridge. And a couple of years ago, my wife gave me a very nice black and white photo of the Brooklyn Bridge, and I had this photo in my studio. And I was thinking, okay, now you have your first song ready. Now you have to have a name. I was looking at that picture. I was like, yeah, it has to do something with Brooklyn. And then I was searching Brooklyn, and there are so many artists that use the word Brooklyn in the correct spelling. And I was like, okay, I have to do something about it. So I just changed the spelling. I just played around a bit, and I saw that this way of spelling with UCK and the hyphen and then LWN wasn't taken. So I just took it, and yeah, that's how it came about.
I like how you're getting brownie points at home, I'm guessing, because you just mentioned the wife's gift as what's the reason for you to get the name as well.
Yeah.
And your music, I was just checking the numbers, Brooklyn. Like you have three tracks rather. Breathe, AI will take over us, and I think hold. Then I will hold. No, what is it called?
No, the you mean the
Half-lived life. Sorry, my bad.
yeah,
Half-lived.
Half-Life Life. I was just,
Shit,
I don't know
my
my
bad.
own music.
Sorry.
Live Life,
So
yeah.
all these three are some great numbers for someone who's producing independent music. Because when you talk to independent artists, you don't get to see them do such big numbers.
Yeah.
Like you're almost a million with one of the videos, and a couple of like in 100,000s and 300,000 with the other videos. Some can say, okay, this is dance music. It's got a lot of favor across the world, and people would listen to it because it's just an easy listen. Uh,
Yeah.
but there is a lot of work that goes into it. Now you can see on YouTube, this is how it's easier. Like you've got your numbers. You also are on Spotify and other streaming platforms. How is it in terms of numbers for you? Works because you're a businessman as well. So I'm asking you on those lines. So how does it work for you in terms of numbers on Instagram, on Spotify, and YouTube?
You mean the promotion side
Uh,
or?
to be one is to be found. The other one is in terms of the monetization aspect.
Yeah. Okay. From a money point of view, everything I do doesn't make any sense at all at the moment, I have to
Okay.
say. I spend a lot more money on advertising than Spotify and YouTube pay, actually. I mean, you know that
Yeah,
you don't
algorithm.
make money nowadays, and I just started, so that's perfectly fine. No, it's like, for me, it's not a money game. I spend some money on my music marketing in order to accomplish what I want to accomplish, in order to get where I want to get, and that's perfectly fine. But I didn't make any money out of it yet, so I couldn't live on it, actually.
Okay.
No,
That's just dark
no
thing.
way. No
Yeah, because
way.
when someone sees the numbers, I'm sure he's making millions. If not millions, at least thousands of dollars. Because the
Uh,
numbers are that,
yeah,
right?
yeah, okay, it's thousands of dollars, but it's I spent a lot more because when I started, I didn't make any money, so I'm still in debt, actually. But that's perfectly fine. That's an investment that I made, and as a businessman, I'm used to investing money in the long term and then get a return on investment one day. But honestly, the return on investment for me with Brooklyn is not about money. It's about feedback that I get. It's so, when I get feedback, like the other day, I was getting a direct message from someone from Brazil. He said that he wrote that he's from Brazil, loves my music, and whenever every morning he takes his 4-year-old daughter to the kindergarten, and he plays my music, and they all go like crazy in the car. I mean, this imagination for me, I just started 6 months or 7 months ago. This was so, you cannot compensate me with money for that feeling that I got when I read that. So, and that's, I get so much great feedback from people, and that's much more, that means much more than any money.
For any artist, I don't think it's just you. I mean, think about it. You're 6 months into it, and you're getting this sort of a love and affection from the people who are listening to music. And for any artist, there's such amount of joy when people tell you stories about how they enjoy your music. And I'm guessing this is great validation, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more to come in time. So now that we spoke of numbers, we spoke about the reach and of the sorts. You just started 6 months ago. You have three tracks on YouTube and other various platforms. How long does it take you to produce or process one track through?
It depends, but normally I'm just working on 2 new tracks. I'm just in the mixing process now, and they will be released within the next 2 months. Normally it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to really finish a song. That's actually my objective. I want to have. I'm not looking at releasing an album. I'm more like seeing my way of releasing songs every 8 to 10 weeks, and that's how long it normally takes to create a new song.
And you said you want to see yourself doing something as an artist. What is that dream for Brooklyn?
Coming back to that reaction of people, it's I want to see people dance to my music, and that is about, I mean, of course the conclusion is playing live one day. I understand that with 3 or 5 or 6 songs you can't do that. I need a few more, but I really want to go live one day and play the music live. I have a vision for like what I want the concert to look like, because I go to concerts a lot. I've been to many concerts over the last 4 years, and I have a very clear vision of what my show should look like, but that will take some time.
Paint us a
And
picture, let's manifest it.
yeah, exactly. That's what it's all about. It's all about manifestation at the end of the day. And as I don't have a record label, I don't have a marketing agency, or what, I do everything myself, of course, at the beginning. It's always like that. There is no one who could seriously plan a tour now or concerts now. I just don't have the experience, and I need these people. But until then, I need a much bigger fan base. So my fans are spread around the entire world. I've placed or streams in like 182 countries over the world. So I can't make a world tour for 10 people listening to my music in Oman, for instance. So that's a little
I mean,
that's a
that's
little
the whole part of it, right? The whole idea of building a community with your music and eventually getting to go and play. Now, let's say Oman is not the place I want you to play it, but if you were to say this is like the stage I want to be playing at, what would you say? I think I
okay.
have something in my head, but I'm guessing you'll say the same thing too.
Okay, the ultimate goal. No, I don't think that that you're as crazy as I am. My ultimate goal, if you would say, okay, I could go like that and make it happen, I would love to play the Sphere in Las Vegas. You
Okay.
know, this round where you two opened the venue last year, because this is playing live 3.0. But I'm not talking. I'm not dreaming of festivals actually, like Coachella or something like that, or Burning Man. I mean, that would be nice, but I see smaller venues that are just about my music and not other people's music. I know that's crazy, absolutely crazy. But 2 years ago, it would have been crazy to sit here with you now, talking to India, from Spain to India, talking about my music. If I had told that to any of my friends 2 years ago, they would have put me in a mental hospital, probably.
But things happen for a reason, and I'm guessing this connection with Spain and India is not just based on music alone, because you spoke about sports too. Just to ask you, what is that sport that you were talking about earlier?
The sports I did when I was young, I played hockey.
Oh, you know,
Yeah,
I'll give you a high five right there. I played hockey as well, man.
really.
Yeah, I used to
You
play
know,
left
the
out
funny
on.
thing is, what the probably the best hockey player in the world is part of my family.
Oh,
He was world champion last year, and he finished second in the player of the year because some Indian guy beat him. So
uh, wow.
yeah,
Now you know the connection. Hockey is also the reason.
yeah. I know that Indians are into hockey. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a national game. Although we don't give much importance to it,
yeah.
sadly. But you know what, Joan, Brooklyn, it's an absolute pleasure to get you on board because I love the music, and I know I'm seeing the love with the views as well on YouTube, and I'm only sure it's only going to grow over time. And with a lot more music, like you said, 8 to 10 weeks, over time, that 8 to 10 weeks maybe becoming 8 to 10 days, because I think you'll get a hang of it and make it a lot more seamless. And your audience is only going to grow from strength to strength. And may the sphere happen in the future as well for you.
Yeah, I know this absolutely crazy, but you know, one day if I play there, you will be in the front row, okay? And
Yeah, and
I will fly you there, and you will be standing in the front row.
I mean, nothing makes me more joyful than watching a lot of our artists, whoever we play or who start with us, to go. I know I'm young, I might sound like a little old man, but for me, the joy of just playing our artists and our artists to thrive and go on to become bigger personalities and names across the world, nothing like that. Like I was telling an artist the other day, we all go to sing karaoke at different places. We always sing like the songs that are already existing, or we talk the retro songs is something you always sing about. I wish one day some of our artists' songs are sung as karaoke someday, and that's a dream that I have. And
Yeah, that
that
would be
whole
great.
idea
Yeah.
of Bob's Radio to not just be a radio station, but eventually want to become like a label for indie artists and do the right kind of labeling and not what is being done today.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And it's for people like you that support independent artists. I'm very thankful for that, because it's hard for someone who doesn't have a label to get the promotion that people deserve. So thanks in the name of all the independent artists. Thanks a lot for your great work. Thank you.
And from my entire team, thank you for coming on board and thank you for doing the music and thank you for choosing to do music after business.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cheers, yeah.